Hey guys, this is Ryan, and welcome to the Daily Market Recap. Today is Tuesday, February 13th, and let's get right into the stock moves for the day. Now, of course, we're going to start off today with the S&P 500, which had maybe the most influential move of the day, dropping nearly $80 at its lowest point, representing almost a 2% correction. Now, the reason for a drop like this was the not stellar CPI data. Inflation came in a little bit higher than most analysts were expecting, which, when we see high inflation, we're expecting to see a bit of a correction in the markets, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. The market rallied a little bit leading into the end of the day, and now it's seated somewhere around 49.70. Now, next we're moving into ARM. Now, ARM is heavily correlated with AI, but as you can see today, we had nearly a 20% sell-off. Now, I'm not sure if there was any specific reason for this, but ARM has been making some massive moves over the past couple days, going from $77 all the way up to 156 at its highest. So it's natural to see a bit of a sell-off, a bit of a correction here to bring the stock back to a bit of a more manageable spot. Now moving on into Palantir, I think this is my dad's favorite stock. He's been holding for months and months at this time, and he always tells me that this is going to be a $50 stock. Now, as you can see over the past couple weeks, Palantir has made dramatic increases, but today we dropped about 4%. Now, this seems to be more of a correction, just getting the stock back to a little bit of a more manageable price. As you can see, this represents a massive change from where it's been, so it's only natural to see a bit of a correction, about $1 from its peak. So nothing crazy, but something you might expect from a stock that's been moving this much. Now, JetBlue Airways was definitely one of the biggest stock winners of the day, jumping nearly 22%, all the way from about 610 all the way up to about 740. Now, the reason for this is a disclosure from Carl Icahn that he has bought nearly 10% of the popular airline. Now, Carl Icahn is a legendary activist investor who buys large positions in companies, moves around the board, moves around the management, and cuts cost in order to make companies more profitable and create something that is going to be somewhere in 10 years. Carl Icahn has made dozens and dozens of amazing investment moves over the years. So when investors and analysts see an investor like Carl Icahn buy into a stock, you're naturally going to see moves like this, almost 22% on JetBlue. Now moving on to Shopify. Shopify was one of the bigger losers of the day. Shopify dropped nearly 13.5%, all the way from close to 91 down to about 77. And now the reason for this, Shopify released their earnings. And you might think, oh, big sell-off, bad earnings. Well, you'd be wrong. Shopify actually beat their earnings slightly, but what the analysts and investors in Wall Street didn't like was their forward-looking projections were a lot more scant than I think these analysts wanted to see. And so you see a bit of a correction, down about 13%. And if this is what the graph looks like on the 5-day chart, just to show you the magnitude of the sell-off here. And now moving on to our last company of the day, I wanted to talk a little about Amazon. Amazon today sold off about 2%, which is a big move for a company like Amazon, for a company that has so many shares constantly being traded. It's surprising to see, a blue chip, magnificent seven stock like this sell off. But I think it's more of a correction. If you really look at the monthly chart, the earnings for Amazon were absolutely spectacular, jumping from about 160 to about 173, getting all the way up to almost 175 at the highest. So it's natural to see a correction here. If you look at it here, we've got pretty close to this resistance line here. So I don't think anyone's worried about the future of Amazon. I think we're just looking at a bit of a correction. And one of the reasons for this correction might be that Jeff Bezos is selling nearly $4 billion of Amazon stock over the last 4 trading days. Now, I don't think anyone would claim that Jeff Bezos doesn't like the future outlook of Amazon or that he thinks Amazon is going to crash and burn. I think he's just looking at this high valuation, thinking that it's time that he cashes in some of his chips. And I don't know, maybe buys another yacht or something. Who knows? Billionaires do what billionaires do. Now, that's pretty much all I have for y'all today. I will be back tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Market Recap. Thank you.